you kind of talk about how you're kind of like the one of the inventors of what you call sleazy guitar. Is that correct?
That's what they say. Frankly, I get offended by it, but apparently, Tracii Guns, king of sleaze guitar. What's sleaze guitar?
Does it pay anything?
Yeah, like what is it though? Like hey, that guy's guitar has syphilis. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it's this, because honestly, Mick Cripps, who's the other guitar player in LA Guns, when we got together, he turned me on to Johnny Thunders, who I guess would be considered a sleaze guitar player in some aspects. I think more sleazy looking than. So you can tell I'm still trying to like equate this king of sleaze. And I really like Johnny, and I actually played with Johnny Thunders, and I adapted a lot of his style into the metal, which was, trying to. But that guy's so cool. I have to be like him and Randy Rhoads and Jimmy Page and Hendrix, but I'm not black. But I do kind of have curly hair. Like, it's always about image, when you're a kid. It's just like, man, but I really want to look like Ted Nugent. Nah, that's passe. Like this whole crazy thing. But what were we talking about?
Well,
sleaze guitar.
Sleaze guitar, but I mean, maybe talk about how your sound was so distinctive back in there in the LA
Well,
Guns early.
I think what people mistake for, a definitive sound was a lack of great production, and I think that instance happens a lot particularly in rock and roll music, because I think that the performance equals the happy listener, when it comes to rock and roll. Chuck Berry, you never really cared that his tone was awful. You just loved him, you know what I mean? It was like, my God, and I think that even Van Halen and the first couple of LA Guns things suffer from that thing. Is like, wow, it sounds so weird, but I really like it. So that's a definitive sound, But I'm not like Eddie. Eddie detests that sound. I actually kind of like the way the first LA Guns records sound. And it's that Randall amp on the first one, the RG80. Mm-hmm. Probably the impedance was mismatched and the ohmage was mismatched and it was just not working right. And I think I played a Warlock on most of that record. And people like that tone. They go, how did you do that? I go, just really crappy equipment. Just. But think about it. I mean, me and you were listening to Jack White, and like most people, especially metal guys, they don't want to play out of a Dan Electro amp or
play a Supro guitar or something like that. Yeah.
But those kind of crappy things, I think they can amplify your personality as a player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the route of a lot of the 80s guys, particularly myself, and I think CeCe DeVille suffers from this too, is that you have so much gain at a point that the human's not coming through. And because CeCe DeVille's an amazing guitar player. I mean, if you sat down with him on the corner of a stage and just with a couple of guitars and blow your face, I go, wow, dude, why don't you play like that in the band? Nobody cares, he would say. I go, well, I care. You're my friend, and I want to say you're a good guitar player. And he is a great guitar player. But at the time, it was about that sustain and being over the top, and your soul kind of slipped in and out of your playing. It wasn't all about the soul at the time, And that's and that's kind of the thing that I understand why there is a stigma attached to that style of guitar playing, that style of music, that era of music, even more so than disco. At least with disco, it was about shaking your booty, With 80s metal, it's about shaking your cock. And nobody at this point is like, oh, I really like that song because it makes me want to shake my cock. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? It was a time, it was an era, and it was fun for the people that were there.